So what happened to the playing card community? Instagram used to be riddled with playing card photos and videos, and then along came ads and algorithms and essentially ruined the whole thing. But the playing card community on Instagram used to be big. In fact, it's where I got started posting things online. I did a 365-day project on Instagram, taking a photo of a deck of playing cards every single day for an entire year. It made me better as a photographer. It really expanded my creativity as well and my love for photography and playing cards at the same time, and it built a community. And now that community aspect is, I think, the thing we are missing today. So today I'm gonna share with you my top 5 favorite playing card decks of 2022, and we're gonna be setting up photos for each single one of them. So I'm taking you behind the scenes in the photo process as I show you the decks that I love. Then we're gonna take some banger shots and post them to Vero. If you're not familiar with Vero, it's an amazing platform that does not have an algorithm. Essentially, whoever you follow is the feed you are going to get in chronological order. It allows you also to post vertical and landscape photos at the same time, videos, links, books, movies, all sorts of cool things that you can do, and you can follow it all by using a hashtag. So I'd encourage all of you to go sign up to Vero. This is not a sponsored post. Honestly, it's just a really cool platform for photography, and I want to start a community again, and I want you guys to be a part of it. So go sign up, take some dope shots of your playing cards, and post them with the hashtag Deck of the Day. It'll be a great place where we can actually push our creativity together and encourage each other's work on a community-built platform. All right, let's get started with deck number 5. Number 5 in my top 5 of 2022 is one that we found in the Art of Play mystery boxes. It is the Ramen Heads. The Ramen Heads playing cards. They got really cool faces, really cool box design. Back design is also cool. A lot of original art. I love the colors, sort of retro, cyberpunk anime feel about it, and it inspires me to want to take a really cool photo. For this photo, we decided to go with a setup kind of like this. We've got the cards. We've printed out this random menu we found online. We had a few to go from, which is, by the way, a great thing you can do. These are free props online. If you just print things out like menus and flat items, you can just lay them there and it makes it look really good on the photo, even though in real life, the quality is not great. Here we got a tile set up. I got all these tiles that we use surfaces for, and I want this to look like kind of like a messy cyberpunk ramen shop. We got like the card here, the jokers. We just kind of messily put the cards around. We've got this neon back here, which provides a nice little red glow. And we've got this small little aperture light here. And that's really it with this bowl of ramen that we just made. And we're going to use the fog machine as well. Now this thing, what is this called again, Lee? The Smoke Genie. This is about $800. It's quite expensive, but if you're doing prop photography or videography for any type of product, it's really cool because it doesn't, it gives you like a small stream of smoke. It can do dry ice, it can do mist or haze, but it doesn't get out of hand. It doesn't fog up the whole place. It's very concentrated, a nice little concentrated cylinder of smoke that we'll be able to use. So for example, we'll be able to bellow some smoke along the surface here and kind of make it look like our ramen's really hot, something like that. Out of that, we can get a really cool picture. Now, the final thing we might need is placement for the deck. I was thinking we can do something like this, where we have the deck sort of in front, but that requires some more lighting this way. And since we're here, I think a top down might be best. So I kind of want to throw the noodles kind of over like this. We can use this as a platform. Maybe grab a card like that. How does that look from the top, you think? Would that look good? Let's take a photo of this before the card starts getting too warped. Oh, look at that card warping. I need to swap out that card. Just want to get some angles here. Cooler angles. Two-handed here. Okay, I think we got something there. What a mess, and destroyed essentially a deck of cards in the process, but again, we're having fun. Go over here, fill up the frame a little bit more. Can we lift this light just a little bit, Lee? I think that's a banger shot. Okay, we got something there. All right, let's clean up this mess. Number 4, I guess an unorthodox pick, not your likely pick. This is a deck that Playboy released. Check this out. Really classy looking tuck case. I actually like the back of the tuck case too. It's got those colors there. I like the way that looks. And it's got some Japanese writing here, which I thought was cool. And the cards themselves have this marble back and this gold foiling, this really nice gold foiling. Now the cards don't handle like USPCC cards because they aren't, I think they're make playing cards, but regardless, this design was just too good for me to pass up. I thought it was super classy looking, and the face cards as well are hyper original. They've got this sort of anime feel to it. You see all these different sort of Japanese pinup anime models. I mean, look at that. Court cards are all the same. I love the simplicity. And the cards do repeat themselves, and then you have the Joker. But I love that punchy, retro, sort of eclectic pop art that they've introduced to it because it's such a clash. If you look at the face cards with these cartoony, pink and vibrant colors, these retro cartoons, but then you look at the back design, and we're talking like hyper upscale gold and marble. So I love that contrast of the two. And I'm gonna try to find a way to showcase that in a photo. So for now we have this setup, which I don't hate, it is missing something. But for now we've got a bunch of gold and gray, much of like what you would find in here. Some green because we want that color to sort of pop and stand out. I think we're gonna go with like a top-down photo once again. We haven't really decided yet. We're using, again, the 7200 for these photos. So that looks kind of good if you were to leave the deck right there and take a photo of it. It doesn't look too bad, but I do think it's missing a punch. To add a little bit of that retro feel, I have this vintage Playboy, which I thought was super dope. The glasses on there and everything looks amazing on this Playboy from August 1982. And I thought adding that might add just a touch of that little bit of retro style. I want this kind of look like a high-end coffee table sort of setup. What this picture looks like here. It all looks a bit jumbled. It makes sense on camera, especially when you're using a 7200. You want everything to sort of feel cranked. Pretty sick. One thing too, when placing products that I found, it's not always good to try and do straight lines. So if you notice here, like this is on an angle, that's on an angle, that's on an angle. Nothing is sort of lined up straight. Even this kind of bugs me, like, but we're only seeing the end of that, so it's not so bad. But everything's sort of angled, nothing is straight, because as soon as you go straight, you start to see flaws. So unless you're like Wes Anderson, stay away from taking, you know, straight photos only. Much easier to get an angled shot of something than it is to get a straight shot. Art, placing thing. It's not bad, I'm not upset about it, but it's a good shot. And just for good measure, I'm gonna swap these out. This here, and this here. All right, next. Deck number 3 in our top 5 of 2022 goes to this deck here. These are the 2049 playing cards by Adrian Valenzuela, who also did the Memento Moris, by the way. Great artist. He does a lot of cool digital art, including NFTs and all these cool things. I met him at CardCon. He gave me a deck and I really, really loved it. He had them in white and black. I prefer the white one, but there's so many cool things about this deck. The back design is really supercharged, kind of got that futuristic sort of AI vibe to it. But the tuck case I found to be extra interesting because for one, there's this giant seal that goes all the way around the deck, all the way down here and all the way back down here, which I've never seen before. Secondly, take a look at the back here. There's like sort of a cream blind embossing going on. And then there's this orange foil that goes around the front. And then this here, which I really loved as well. It looks great. My favorite thing about the cards now, there are a few things like the sort of glitchiness on the pips, which I really like. But the court cards, I think, are my favorite. Check those out. Really nice court cards. For the setup for these, we've decided to use the escape room because it's got a cool reflective surface, which gives that really clean and polished look we're looking for this deck. I think a black surface would have been too jarring and too contrasting to go with this white deck. So I think a white surface is nice, but then adding a punch of color. And since we already have that orange, we've got this flower here that we can play with, fake flower. I've got this as well, which is a puzzle I never put out with Labserium, but it's a bit of a maze, but that's a cool background prop. We've got this mask, which we ordered on Etsy as well. It's got a light, a little ring light here. And I've got this knife. This is a fake 3D printed knife. This is plastic, but it looks real. And it has as well that cyberpunk futuristic ninja feel, right? And that's kind of what we're gonna try and mimic using all of the elements we have here. Now we might need just a little bit of extra key lighting, maybe some aperture lights or something like that, just to bring it all together, bring out the mood that we're looking for. I used this helmet instead, which was another helmet we found on Etsy. Etsy's got a whole lot of creative stuff. Got this little plant here to add a little bit of extra color. I've taken a second to sort of set everything up. Seemingly symmetrical, but a little chaotic, and it's got elements a little bit everywhere that are raised and lowered. One thing I like with taking, especially top-down photos, is you have to remember like depth of field, right? It's very important. You have to cover a few elements in one. What I mean by that is the bottom surface is very important. Then we have a raised surface, we have some cards. Those are gonna be sort of out of focus because the focal point's gonna be this deck here, which makes everything above this deck out of focus and this incredibly out of focus. So you're getting all these different layers of depth of field, which are gonna add a lot of character. I wanna take it at an angle because I don't trust my lines are straight here. So I'd rather have something angled like that. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Ooh-wee, looking good. Oh yeah, Y's the way to go here. Ooh, we're getting a whole different vibe now. Entirely different vibe. Feels like everything's coming at the camera, almost like a B-roll or something for these people here. Almost feels like when you're taking a drone shot of like in the city, and all the buildings with the wide angles are sort of. All right, for my number 2 deck, this extravagant Renaissance painting in the background and the blue color as well. Everything just looks so crisp. He made 2 of these designs, sort of inverted. You can see it here on the gaff card. I like the way this deck looks. I feel like it has a mix of that simplified design, yet hyper extravagant, luxurious, sort of opulent design, and opulence is what I'm going for here. So if you've noticed, this is my gold chain and my gold ring from my buddy Omar from Vermont Blue Luxury. Also some fake $100 bills. We've got a red fire hydrant here just to create that extra pop, that sort of pop art vibrance. We also use this light that used to be in my old office, this sort of blue light, because it's exactly the color of the deck. Also, this picture frame that I have, which is like this old picture frame. And again, I want this to feel like opulent pop art luxury. Like someone who's got too much money and doesn't know what to do with it. And this is kind of what that picture is gonna reflect. Money. This is probably my favorite one. This is probably my favorite, these are probably my favorite photos of them all so far, because I think we really captured the spirit of what this deck represents to me. My number 1 deck of 2022 goes to Orbit Brown. Orbit collaborated with Mac Lethal on what I think was the nicest deck of the year. It was just genius artwork on behalf of Orbit, his team, Mac Lethal. This collab was chef's kiss. The back design is dope. It's got that Japanese font. It's got this sort of two-tone plus the yellow, which pops. They also use the yellow on the seal of the tuck case, which I love. Everything from the ace to the jokers, everything looks super, super sick, and it is a very highly photogenic deck. It is a one-way design because of the Japanese writing, but you don't really get that impression because it's in the middle of the deck, which I think is a nice touch. We've set up this setup right now for this photo. So I've got these retro TVs, cameras, sound systems. We got this light back here, which is sort of throwing a bunch of light on this grid, which gives it some depth down there. And these old cameras sort of give it those angles, this nice like shine. And then we got the reflection in the TV, which will be able to pick up the reflection of the deck, hopefully as well as some depth of field and a small little aperture light on top. I think throw some haze in there, and I think we're gonna have a banger photo.